A moment with God can change everything. Listen, reflect, and be blessed. Here's today's scripture.
Hey everyone, welcome back for another deep dive. You know how we do things around here. Let's jump right in. We're going to be talking about living with integrity and standing up against darkness. But how do we actually do that? You know what I mean?
Well, it is a journey, right?
Yeah, definitely a journey.
It's a process. And the source we're looking at, exposing darkness, living in the light of truth, really lays it out there, especially with that verse from Ephesians.
Oh, yeah.
Have nothing to do with the fruitless deeds of darkness, but rather expose them. Like, that's pretty direct, right?
Yeah, you can't really get around that one. It's like you're supposed to both reject the darkness and then shine a light on it. You know?
Exactly. It's not enough to just turn away from bad things. You have to actively engage with them in a way and try to bring them into the light.
I see what you mean. So two sides of the same coin. And you know, that phrase, fruitless deeds, really stood out to me. What exactly is that fruit and why is it considered fruitless?
Yeah, that's a really powerful metaphor. And I think it has to do with the consequences of our actions. You know, it's like planting a seed in the dark. It might grow, but it'll be all twisted and weird and unhealthy.
Right.
And I think these fruitless deeds are kind of like that. They might seem appealing or fun or exciting at first, but in the end, they just lead to pain and emptiness and brokenness, both for ourselves and for the people around us.
So it's not just some kind of abstract concept of evil or whatever. It's about the actual real-world impact that our choices have on ourselves and everyone else.
Exactly.
And the source really stresses that this whole exposing darkness thing isn't about judging people. It's about revealing the truth. How can we do that without, becoming self-righteous or condemning others?
Yeah, that's the tricky part, isn't it? Because no one likes to be judged. But the source is clear that it's about being a light, not a judge. Yeah. And I think a lot of it comes down to just living with integrity ourselves, If we are consistently choosing what's good and what's true, then that naturally creates a contrast. It's like holding up a mirror to the darkness, and people will see the difference.
Oh, I like that. It's like showing, not telling, right? It's like leading by example.
Right.
People might start to question their own choices if they see you living a different way.
Exactly.
But what about those times when we do need to actually speak up, Like if we see injustice or someone spreading harmful ideas, the source talks about some actions being so shameful that they shouldn't even be mentioned. So does that mean we should just stay silent about difficult or controversial topics?
That is a great question, and it's something I've thought about a lot myself. I don't think it means we should never talk about those things, but it's more about how we approach them. If you see someone with a wound, you don't just leave it open and exposed for everyone to stare at. You clean it and you bandage it and you help it to heal.
Gotcha.
I think it's the same way with exposing darkness. We bring things into the light so they can be dealt with and hopefully healed and transformed.
I see. So it's not about, just reveling in the darkness or using it as an excuse to tear people down.
Yeah.
But you also can't just pretend it's not there. Right.
Yeah.
And that's where that analogy from the source about being salt and light comes in. Can you explain that a bit more?
Sure. It's such a powerful image, Back in the day, salt was used to preserve food and to stop it from decaying. And of course, light drives away darkness. So as salt and light, we are called to preserve what's good and true in the world, to fight against all the bad stuff, and to bring hope to people who are struggling.
So we have a responsibility to be agents of change in a way, right?
Right.
But for someone listening to this right now, what does that actually look like on a practical level? How can they start exposing darkness in their own lives?
Well, it doesn't have to be some big, huge, dramatic thing. It can be as simple as speaking up if you hear someone telling a racist joke or sexist joke, or refusing to gossip about someone, or maybe donating to a charity that's doing good work. It's about paying attention to the choices we make every day and asking ourselves, am I adding to the darkness or am I shining a light?
Yeah, it's those small everyday acts of courage and integrity that really make a difference in the long run. And it makes me think about something else the source mentioned about certain actions being so bad they shouldn't even be talked about.
Yeah.
Does that mean we should never talk about difficult or controversial issues?
It's a tough question for sure. I think the source is warning us against getting caught up in the gory details or, using those things for entertainment or shock value. But it doesn't mean we should shy away from important conversations. If something needs to be addressed, then we should address it. But we should do it with sensitivity and wisdom, and we should always focus on finding solutions, not just dwelling on the problems.
Right. It's all about our approach and our motives. Are we genuinely trying to understand and find a way forward, or are we just adding to the negativity?
Exactly.
Well, this has been a really insightful deep dive. We've covered a lot of ground today, from the concept of fruitless deeds to the importance of living with integrity and speaking truth with love and grace. And that analogy of salt and light is so powerful. It's a great reminder that we all have a role to play in pushing back against the darkness.
Absolutely. And it's a journey we take together, We all need each other's support and encouragement along the way.
So for everyone listening out there, here's something to think about as you go about your day. What's one area of your life or the world around you that feels particularly dark right now? And what's one small step you can take today to bring a little bit of light to that space? It might not change the whole world, but it could make a world of difference to someone. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, everyone.
See you next time.
Bye.